Hi guys, Jordan Billington here. I have chosen to really look at this idea of distance education and the role that student affairs plays within that distance learning, online learning model. Not just because I, as a student, have chosen to pursue a fully online graduate program, but also because my students are starting to become more interested in the online courses, and some really love the online model, some struggle in it. So I'm curious about how student affairs can be more involved in the online learning experience and what that might look like. It is vital for us as student affairs practitioners to adapt our delivery of services so that we can really support our learners. And in 2012, as you can see here, 7.4 million undergraduate students and 1.3 graduate students took at least one online course, which is double the amount of students enrolled in an online learning experience in the 2003-2004 academic year. And we're seeing that this growth is going to continue, no doubt. This pattern, it is anticipated that it will continue. Online learning has really boosted enrollment at public and private institutions, which is a really great thing because as of late, institutions have felt pressure to increase their enrollment. Not only that, but online learning experiences can make our institutions more attractive to incoming students. You can see here that 25% of our students who used online courses or course materials as high school students expected to take online courses in college. So it in some cases can be a form of recruitment that we offer these flexible options for our students. So the most important thing to think about is who are the online learners that our institutions serve. You may be coming from an institution that really supports online learning. I'm coming from an institution where we are very traditional in nature. Very few programs are offered solely online. Very few courses are offered online at the undergraduate level. In 2013, UCLA conducted a survey of incoming freshmen, and what they discovered is that the bulk of their first-year students are not the students who are gravitating towards online courses. And then a further breakdown shows you here, and you can see these percentages are somewhat small, but this is the breakdown of how many online students at these institutions, private universities, private four-year colleges, public universities, public four-year colleges, and then our HBCUs are traditional first-year students. So they are not the bulk of our online learners. Additionally, more women prefer online courses over men, according to the research, and 40% of our online learners are 29 and younger. 40% of our online learners also do not work full-time. On the flip side of this, what this means is that 60% of our online learners are age 30 and older, so they are our adult learners, and then 60% of our learners who are taking online courses are also working full-time, so they are juggling that full-time career while working to complete their online experience. And we know that flexibility is a pro. We know that students are gravitating towards these online experiences in many cases because they can study anywhere at any time. I know that for me at this stage of my life, that was a big piece of why I chose the program I chose. The online option made a second master's degree a viable option for me that would not have been an opportunity if I could not have done it virtually. On the other side, though, there is a lack of direct contact or interaction with our faculty members and our classmates, and that can be challenging for students. So we have to think about what the barrier is when we look at online learning experiences. That isolated feeling of being in an online course sometimes where a student may feel like they're on an island or just very disconnected from the experience is a big deal, and it's where student affairs can really help out. When we're serving our students, there's not going to be a one-size-fits-all approach. There just can't be. Our institutions are vastly different, and so it's not possible that there's a one response, one answer that's going to solve all of our problems. But student affairs professionals can help because at our core, we are community builders. We are really great at fostering the sense of community on our campuses, and we can use that expertise to really supplement and improve our online learning experiences for students who may feel isolated from the campus experience. So it's important that we start thinking about how we collaborate with other campus partners, distance education staff, our faculty, in ways that we can really effectively support our students. And the important piece, again, is that collaboration, but we have to be careful here because there are always going to be barriers when it comes to collaboration. For example, there may be a lack of understanding of what different offices do and what our roles may be. So we have to have support from each other, and ideally, the most effective collaboration is going to come about when our senior administrators and our institutional leadership really support that collaboration. Because student affairs is so very broad, the scope of resources is going to vary based on institution. Our textbook, to simplify it here, has divided that support service into 4 different categories. You've got enrollment, technical, academic, and personal. So to start with, enrollment's going to involve registration and billing and financial aid, everything that a student needs to do to actively enroll in a course. And in a lot of ways has a lot to do with how a student, or it contributes to a student's decision to enroll in a course. The example our textbook uses is Richland Community College. In 2009, they created an online orientation and made it mandatory for any student taking an online course for the first time or a hybrid course with some online experiences. And the orientation itself was created based on feedback that RCC had from faculty and staff and students, but also the help desk tickets that were created. So they studied this pattern of help desk tickets and really understood at that point what the biggest issues were. The orientation itself was made up of 10 modules with interactive activities at the end of each. And the final orientation culminated in an exam. And students did have to score at least an 80% or higher to gain access to their course. But as a result, Richland Community College saw higher retention. Their retention rates jumped from 71% to almost 80% in the first year alone. And then within 3 years, retention had jumped all the way up to 84%. Additionally, less help desk tickets were submitted since the implementation, and students have self-reported that they feel more confident in their ability to succeed in their online course. Technical services is going to refer to really anything with technical difficulties, navigating that LMS, or the learning management system. And this is really important because our students, especially those students who are in asynchronous courses, are going to be taking their courses at different times. So in the evenings, on the weekends, and it's hard to get tech support during those after hours times. Some institutions have moved to a 24-hour help desk, but with funding, this is not a reality for many. And so some have, in response to this, created more interactive FAQs or multimedia tutorials that help support students in those after-hour moments. Academic services are going to refer to the online academic advising and the online support services like tutoring and supplemental instruction. Both are going to be very important for our online learners. Arizona State implemented the National eAdvisor, and this has been a really great experience for them because this online web-based advisor tool helps students track their progress towards the degree. It also serves as an early alert function if a student becomes off track for one reason or another. It also creates a more personalized list of information that's pertinent to a student experience. So that eAdvisor experience from Arizona State is connecting our learners with the resources they need to stay on track, to stay in line with their degree progression as they've planned initially. And it's been good for them. They've seen positive results. They saw an 8% increase in retention since the implementation, and they've seen a 10% increase in graduation. Finally, personal services. We're seeing more and more support offered through institutional counseling centers and career services offered online, which has been a really good experience for our students. And so the personal services is also important. Century College in Minnesota has implemented a really cool service for their online learners, and it's called the GPS Life Planning Guide. It's a web-based tool with multiple modules. One is a life planning module that deals with career and education goals, financial planning, leadership and personal goals. So it's a really great experience for students to interact with a web-based tool to help them think about the holistic plan and set concrete goals with intentional strategies to meet those goals. It also has an e-portfolio function, or an e-folio, that allows students a place to compile a collection of their work as they progress towards their degree. And then lastly, there's a campus activities module. And this is what connects students to workshops and seminars that they may be interested in pursuing. The Life Planning Guide is not just used by the Century College of Minnesota. It was so successful that it is now being used by schools all across the state. And it's been really helpful to blend online and on-campus learning experiences. So it's not just the online learners that have access to it, but it's a great tool for those students who aren't able to come to campus to meet with an advisor or meet with a career counselor regularly. Some things to keep in mind. In a lot of ways, we're already using technology. Some of our colleagues, I am not as familiar with the social media forums, but a lot of my colleagues are using Twitter and Instagram and Facebook to connect with our students. We all use email. We use email every day to communicate with our students and with each other. Skype is another opportunity for us to connect with our online learners with the video module connection. Also, there are different types of students. So we know that when we're working with students, students vary and we have to adapt to meet our students where they are. We have to modify our practices. So we may have students who are very comfortable with this online learning experience, the students who can navigate that LMS on their own, the students who are comfortable. They're typically very independent and very self-motivated. We may also have students who are very strong in the technology and comfortable, but have complex situations arise. So students who may be comfortable with the technology, but something may change in their experience where they need to change their major or take a semester off, and these more complex situations require some additional support. And then lastly, we may also have students who just struggle with the technology and choose this online option because the face-to-face instruction is just not an option for them. So we have to remember that not everyone who chooses online learning does so lightly, and it's not always because online learning is their preference. The bottom line here is that communication occurs anytime when parties are not together. There's going to be some barriers. There may be some struggles with how we recognize tone and whether we recognize body language or social cues. And we have to be aware of that when we're supporting our students. Our goal as student affairs practitioners is to really think about our online presence. How do we communicate to our students? Are we welcoming? Are we warm? Do our students feel like they can connect with us? And this may mean that we upload a welcome video every year to our students and our advisees and give them a chance to have a face to put with the name, where it may just be a chance for us to really introduce our students to a relationship building experience where they feel more comfortable with us. For the online learning environment, universities have to be careful to avoid creating an online environment in similar structure to the brick and mortar structure, meaning the departments existing in silos. Now, this may work well in an on-campus format where one service may be a 15-minute walk from the other, but it's still accessible. In an online format, this may come across as very disjointed and challenging to navigate. Additionally, instructors and student affairs professionals really could work together to create a seamless online learning environment where learners are going to thrive. And it could make way for an academic and personal support experience to really merge together for students' benefit. So there may be an opportunity for a student affairs professional to work with an instructor to really build an interactive component to really support and supplement an online course. And then lastly, support can be more personalized in an online format. So technology can allow us to really tailor what a student sees to ensure that the information they're receiving is pertinent to their experience. What we're seeing too is that while support services are relatively common, retention rates are still lower for online learners. Some methods to address this issue would be early alert notifications that tell students and advisors or faculty members when a student starts to fall behind. Collaborative problem solving, meaning we start to look at these patterns of online student behavior and performance indicators and start to think about ways that we can start to address some of those issues. And then accountability. We have to be aware of our pitfalls and we have to be ready to make adjustments. We have to continuously evaluate our support services. And to do this, we've got to hear from all stakeholders. It's got to be hearing from professionals in our field, our senior administrator, our faculty, but also our students. Their experiences really shape the way that we should modify and to support our students. And just some different opportunities for us to think about ways to improve support, peer mentor programs, collaborative partnerships, using social media to really dedicate our time to our online learners, and then regular cohort meetups. And then here are our references. Thank you very much for hanging